So guys, we saw the movie yesterday, and a movie like that will inspire and a lot of, young people especially, I think. How do you want to inspire young people? In which way?
I mean, for me, these kinds of movies, particularly Zach's style, I think the way we can inspire people is by telling them, hey, listen, a lot of times, these heroes don't know what the right move is. And it's okay not to know that, It's not binary, it's not good or bad, it's not right or wrong, black or white, whatever. You have complicated heroes that have, that are very human. And I think that'll be the most inspiring thing that I'd like to project out there is like, listen, you may not know what's right, but as long as you make a decision that you believe is right and keep going in that way, things will work out.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's an aspect to the story of, multilateralism, of like cooperation, working together, this notion that we're more successful, when we work as a larger whole than we are as the sum of our individual parts. And I think that theme is very resonant right now.
Exactly. I also think because I felt this when they all came together, solidarity is so important. Then we can move things much better than we are not saying we are like pack animals, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I know that you are a father. You're not a father yet,
I'm not,
right?
no.
But I think for every kid, for them, the father is a superhero, because it's your dad. It's the first guy you see in your life, Is it true, Ben? Do you have also that feeling?
I think that, you want, like all kids want their dads to be superheroes or kind of idolize their fathers, particularly during a certain period of life. And that's, that's okay. Eventually they realize, you realize that your father's only human, and my son will realize that about me probably very soon. And that's good and healthy too. But there is definitely something fun about the superhero as the father figure.
And for me, it was my mom on that end. My mom's single mom, 5 kids, that kind of thing. So she was my superhero growing up.
But when you grew up, did you have like Batman, Superman as heroes also?
Oh yeah. No, I remember my first experience was Michael Keaton's Batman, and then followed by like the Batman the Animated Series, and I watched all the cartoons growing up. I'd rush home from school. I'd be doing my homework in the car, so that way nobody would say, "Turn off the TV, Ray, do your homework." I'm just there already. And so, I mean, it was for me. This was like super, super important, and it really gave me something to look up to in a really big way.
I can imagine. Yeah. And also, I think this, we always want kind of, like you say, we tend to idealize people. I think, but on one point, we also need that. We need a figure, especially when we grow up, who gives us a little bit a direction. Who was that for you, Ben?
Boy, that's the hard question. I mean, there are a lot of people who inspired me, who I read about and heard about, but a lot of my grandfather was the closest one to me, but I also, really admired Martin Luther King and, a lot of, civil rights activists, social justice movement leaders. Like that was a really important thing in my family growing up. So my parents made sure that we paid attention to those kinds of movements. And so from a very young age, I definitely got the strong sense from my parents that, through collective action, social change was possible.
And for me, it was definitely my grandmother who helped raise us on that end. She was about this tall, but she was scrappy as all hell. And when you're growing up, it's tough because your parents are so close. You don't really get that perspective. I'm starting to get it now that I'm older, and you really realize and appreciate everything that they've done for you. So when we look up to these superheroes in these films, I think we get a little bit of a different sense of who they are because they're a little bit more removed. You can see it. You have a little bit more perspective on it. But as you get older, you start to form that perspective for the people in your life. Yeah.
But that's cute with the grandma. I know what you mean. I had that too.
Did you? Yeah.
And also, but everybody of us has a darkness in him. Or do you think not everybody, or is that human given?
I think everybody's got a darkness to them, or the potential for darkness. Whatever you believe that to be. You look at any good movie, any good TV show. The bad guy isn't just the bad guy, twirling mustache, not that kind of thing. The bad guy believes they're doing something good, and so it's just a skewed perception of what that is. But I think we all have the potential for good. We all have the potential for things that aren't good. It's just a matter of how you deal with your particular situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that things like, you know, what we inherit, you know, genetically from our parents in combination with the way that we're raised and in combination with the kind of social influences that we have in our lives, you know, sort of all comes together to make us, you know, a little bit of a patchwork quilt, I think, of, you know, of a person. And, you know, we have different influences and competing influences. And part of the idea, I think, is to try to do the best you can with what you've got.
Yeah, but we don't know always if it's, you know, I think even I'm older now, you know, but it's still like always, you still learn. It's not like just for you to know, you're so young, you know. You still learn, even if you're older. You always know there's a different, you know, and also values change.
Yeah.
Because you have different needs, right?
Yeah.
I think values just change as society evolves, you know, and we learn more and more, and we kind of learn to respect each other more and see the world from one another's perspective more. And as that stuff happens, you know, increasingly we kind of shift social values and norms to accommodate our new sensitivities, which, you know, hopefully, and it's in fits and starts and maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and for me, I'd say, you know, the thing is you stop learning, you stop living, you know, you become stagnant. And the idea that, you know, you don't always know the right thing, you know, because what is right and wrong will always be shifting depending on where we are socially and where we are mentally and emotionally. So, yeah.
Yeah, but also like in the moment without going into details, but what happens, you know, in the news and with Hollywood, will it change something, you think? Will we, because we talked about sensitivity, you know, will it change the whole business, you think?
I think the world is going to change. And I think this business is indicative of the world in which we live. And so I believe that as the world continues to evolve and as the social norms and continue to evolve, so will this business and so will everything else. Yeah. So hopefully, knock on wood, it keeps changing.
I'm always open for change, yeah. But do you think it will change anything?
Yeah, I think Ray gave a really good answer. I agree.
Mm-hmm. I hope there will be change because it's good, you know, and it also brings us all together. Yeah. I think the more open we are, the better for everybody.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, to be able to have that kind of dialogue, that's the first step, to be able to talk about it. You know, talk about it without fear of judgment, talk about it without fear of admonishment, that sort of thing. That's the key. Communication is key.